I want to kind of introduce Jimmy too. Actually, I want to say I appreciated it. I reached out to Jimmy, asked him if he wanted to come on, and like I said, I was excited. He said yes, he wants to come on the show to kind of talk. Jimmy, for the people that are listening, he's a co-founder of War Room Sports and War Room Sports TV, and he's also an author. Just came out with a book called S.P.O.R.T.S. Smart People Only Read the Sports. Jimmy, what's going on, man? Like I said, I know I've interacted with you a lot. We've talked about different topics. You guys have a great site. I'm a fan of the site, so just wanted you on.
I mean, thank you, man. Just been busy as ever. We got a lot of things in the work in terms of War Room Sports. The book is out, so I've been running around like crazy, promoting and marketing the book, and just trying to, keep sports alive, man. In terms of what we do and how we argue sports on a daily basis, on your Facebook page or on Twitter or wherever we argue. You know what I mean? Sports is an amazing culture, and that's part of the reason why I wrote the book.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that. That was actually one of the first questions I was going to ask you is actually, I guess, give you an opportunity to talk about the book, just kind of your thoughts going into the book and things like that.
Well, what happened was I'm a huge fan of books and words in general. Anyone that follows me on any social media, my personal accounts, and that's at JW the Blueprint. That's on every site. Knows that one of the things I do is I read like a book a week, and I have done for years. I'm a huge fan of books, and one of the things I always wanted to do was to write my own book. And I've done a lot of writing, but the idea in putting this book out, it was for a lot of different reasons. For one, it's a short book. It's about 122 pages, so it's a quick read, and you can read it multiple times. For two, it was an idea I had to talk about sports and like hip hop culture and pop culture. So the book is literally like being in a barbershop having an argument. And I wanted to get people to read that generally don't read. And I've accomplished that because I have people who send me messages saying, man, this is the first book I've read since grade school. I had, people telling me it's the first book I've ever read because it's something that the average sports fan can relate to, the way I talk about players and situations and just basically giving my opinion. So it's a group of essays I had about, different sports topics that I put together in this book called S.P.O.R.T.S. And the feedback has been phenomenal. It's greater than I could have ever imagined. And anyone that follows me on social media knows that because I repost a lot of the messages that I get. I don't even have time to repost all of the messages I get. When the book came out, I was number one on Amazon ahead of like Coach K, Jalen Rose, and all. So the feedback and the support I got have been phenomenal. And, so I'm looking forward to writing more books like this because not only have people told me they like it, I've inspired others to do the same and write a book.
That's awesome.
Yeah, definitely. And
awesome.
And I got to say, I 100% agree with what Jimmy said about the barbershop talk and thinking like that because people who might want to check out their Facebook page, they have this thing they do, the verses. And that's basically what it is. Put out two guys. Who is it? Is it this one or that one? And you just got going back and forth. So it's cool, man. I mean, like I said, it feels like you're sitting around basically with just friends, just kind of talking it up.
Yeah, the book is so wild that it actually comes with a glossary of like some of the slang that we actually use in War Room Sports because we talk with a lot of our own vernacular and slang. So the book includes a glossary of some of the War Room Sports colloquialisms. So, that's how, real the book is in terms of how it speaks to the reader.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
I like it a lot.
Jimmy, kind of moving on as far as NBA-wise, what are your thoughts so far on the season as far as what's going on, just overall thoughts about different games, standings, storylines, things like that?
I tell you what, there's a lot of – I was listening to you guys before I came on. There's a lot of amazing storylines so far. We have to start with the Warriors. I watch a lot of TV in general, and they're must-see TV to watch them play. Now, we all know they lost their game or whatever, but doesn't matter. It doesn't take away from what they did before then. Because who can beat them in a series when you watch them play? Barring injury, of course. And I heard you guys mention how they, like the Patriots now, going through a phase where you have injuries, you have to overcome that. But just watching them play, I was in shock a little bit. I thought they would be good, but not this good. It's sort of like they're playing with house money now, like they won the championship, so now they're comfortable and they're just playing the game. So we have to start with them in terms of a surprise. on that side. No one thought they would be this good. In terms of a surprise the other way, someone mentioned it already, the Pelicans. I am completely in shock at how inept the Pelicans are. Like, this is a team that, most people thought would be in the playoffs or possibly on the fringe of contending. And they're like the 14th seed right now. They're only 2 games above the Lakers. I'm not shocked at the Lakers because the team stinks. I mean, bottom line. But the Pelicans to have 6 wins right now, I'm in shock about that.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I was not expecting that. I mean, all you heard in the offseason was how Anthony Davis was going to take this team to the next level. What I did want to ask you a quick question about, Jimmy, as far as the NBA season and what's going on so far, is Derrick Rose and the situation in Chicago. I feel like as a basketball fan, a sports fan in general, just watching the games, it looks to me like it should be Jimmy Butler and Paul Gasol's team. But for whatever reason, the Bulls are afraid to tell Derrick Rose, hey, man, we're sorry. The MVP years are over. It's no longer your team. I feel like they coddle and they make every attempt to still give the team to Derrick.
I completely agree. You said it all. I completely agree. And you can tell even in body language. It's like there's no chemistry there with Derrick Rose and the rest of those guys. It's like his time away. Obviously there's different players on the team from when he first started going through his injury problems. But, yeah, I completely agree. He's a hometown guy. So you have that factor, and, he's an MVP, and he was beloved there before the injuries. But at this point, sometimes it may be better for not only the Bulls, but Derrick Rose himself to move on. You know what I mean? Like, him leaving could be what he needs as well as the team.
That's a good point. Yeah, I definitely – go ahead, Project.
I was just going to say I had actually read an article and that's exactly what it said. They were like, the team, they call a couple of plays. All right, we're going to run a couple of good plays. For Butler, we're going to run a couple of good plays. All right, now we're going to run a couple of these, plays for Rose and just see what happens. It's like they're kind of just doing it to it. They're letting it happen. They're not facilitating the fact that, all right, look, you're not the player that you used to be. Have you seen how good this guy is over here? We need to get him the ball more. We need to have him have the ball in his hands. He's our playmaker right now. Not to say that you can't be the playmaker that you once were, but right now you're not. So you have to either work to get better or we're going to have to part ways. And I personally think that his time in Chicago is definitely is coming up. It's coming up real soon. So,
it's one of those things where I can't see him in another uniform, but it has to happen.
Yeah, I really can't either, just because of how good he was, before he, had a couple injuries to his legs and his knees and everything like that. Jimmy, one thing I did want to ask you, and I understand you're a Lakers fan, correct?
Absolutely.
Okay. One of the big stories of this year is Kobe Bryant and this being his last season with the Lakers. What's your thoughts on Kobe as far as where he, stands in the overall rankings, not of the Lakers, but overall, of all NBA players, and where that franchise is going to go from here?
It's one of those things. It's hard to say where he stands all time. And in terms of Laker players, he would have to be top maybe 3. Magic, to me, is the Lakers. Like, he just represents the Lakers, and he embraces being a Laker. So he would be one. Magic, Kareem, maybe Kobe's definitely top 5. There's a lot of great Laker players. But overall, he gets a seat at the table where he can, be mentioned amongst the greats. I don't think he's a top 5 player of all time. I've heard some people say that. I wouldn't put him there. Maybe in the top 10 to 15. And some people take that as, like, disrespect when they hear me say that. Like, hey, you're a Laker. Because, it feels as though if you're a Lakers fan, you have to say Kobe is the best or Kobe's better than Mike or Kobe. No, I try to be objective. And being objective, I think he would fall somewhere in 15 now. With that being said, that's an amazing accomplishment when you look at how many people have played this game throughout its history and continue to play the game. To say you're, one of the top 10 to 15 guys to ever do it is a huge accomplishment and a huge praise. So I think that's where he falls somewhere along the line, because there's a lot of great players. Like, if I'm building a team, I don't know if I take Kobe over Mike. I don't know if I take Kobe over Wilt. I don't know if I take Kobe over Russell. And, I'm a historian, so I study the game, so I'm not one of these guys who disrespect the older players based upon a lot of different variables. So looking at the history of the game and where he falls, I would say somewhere in the 10 to 15. Now, to answer your other question about where the team goes from here, I'm actually interested to see as well because in some ways Kobe has handicapped his team the last several years. I've talked to players off the record, and a lot of guys just didn't want to play with him. I mean, when you look at the Lakers, who traditionally have gotten the guy they wanted in terms of free agency or trade, and you had the last several years with LeBron changing teams, Carmelo changing teams, some of the bigger names, and we get Jeremy Lin, something's wrong, right? So management is a disgrace. When Dr. Buss left, I knew that we would have problems. But at the same time, being a Lakers fan is one of those things where you're accustomed to winning. So you're not used to this deplorable team they have now. But they're bad. I mean, they're a bad team. I wasn't really excited at the draft about D'Angelo Russell. I hope he can become a great player. I wanted Okafor at the time. I thought Okafor would be a better fit in terms of moving forward. But we'll see what happens. I mean, obviously they'll get a good pick again this year, and it's all about people wanting to come and play in LA again.
Now,
that's definitely
actually,
true.
Speaking of, you mentioned Okafor, and I know you're a Laker fan. I know you're in the Philly area.
Absolutely.
What are your thoughts on that game? I mean, I know Philly gets their first win when Kobe starts his farewell tour. Just what are your overall thoughts of that game? And then what's the pulse of the fans in Philly about the franchise, where they're going, how they're doing, that type of stuff?
Man, fans have pretty much given up on the team at this point, so they're trying to talk the owners into selling. And the support for the team is crazy. You can get tickets for less than $1 these days. Honestly, less than $1. I'm not even exaggerating.
Wow.
You can go online a day of the game and get tickets for 75 cents to go see him play, and that's not even an exaggeration. I mean, when you talk about the fact that Okafor has more wins in street fights than the team has overall, it's a problem, right? But I do think that he can be a player. Watching him play, watching his footwork, watching what he does, I think that he can be a good player in this league. It's unfortunate they never had an opportunity to play with, Noel as well as Embiid all together, because I wonder how in the East. Now, the East is not as competitive as the West. But you put those three big guys in a lineup at one time, But the problem is, watching Noel, it looks like he took a step back this year. I'm like, what happened? You're supposed to get better. But overall, the team is a mess. They keep talking about, just they have a system in place and they want us to, just be patient. But at this point, no. I mean, you see they hired Jerry Colangelo to try to come in and do something. But the word around here is that was because the other owners were getting pissed and they wanted the Sixers to do something, because the fact of the matter is Philadelphia is one of the biggest markets in the NBA. And you need that team to produce revenue because of revenue sharing. So if this team isn't producing revenue because the fans no longer support, then all the owners are losing out essentially. So it's better for the league when the big markets are competitive, when you're Chicago's and you're New York, Philadelphia, Los Angeles. You look at the league now, and the best teams are in Oklahoma City and San Antonio. That's less revenue for the owners. You know what I mean? So they want these big markets to do well. So the Sixers have to do something.
The Sixers need to listen to Larry Brown and need to bring in AI.
You won't get
AI will fix it all.
AI is one of those players where I know everything that comes with AI, but I will never slander AI. I'm an AI fan that's I'm not objective when it comes to AI. Let's put it that way.
I think a lot of us are like that, especially all of us being from the D.C. area. I mean, I'm out in Carolina now, but being born and raised in the DMV, those Georgetown Hoyas,
absolutely,
AI and Victor Page and Jerome Williams, I mean, they could do no wrong. And now I still, after all these years, still feel the same.
Dog.
I had a quick question about the Colangelo hiring. Something that I've heard on a lot of different outlets, and obviously with you being in the city, you have a better idea than I do, is that the NBA kind of made that move. And there's some owners and some executives in the NBA that don't like that idea of the NBA kind of forcing a team to do something maybe they didn't want to do. What were your thoughts on that? If it's true,
well,
if it is true, how do you feel about that?
That's kind of what I've heard. It was one of those things where the owners wanted the NBA to step in and make the Sixers do something, but a lot of them didn't want this to happen. I mean, Jerry Colangelo is well respected. So, I mean, it's one of those things where you're like, okay, they got to do something, and then they do something, and you're like, why'd you give him that guy? We could have hired that guy or something like that. You know what I mean? So, but only time will tell what he can actually do. because the other stories coming out is the owners are trying to sell anyway. They want to buy an NFL franchise. So it's a mess. Right now it's honestly a mess. It's a mess. And, I mean, what do you do as a league? You continue to give them top 5 picks every year and they do nothing with it, and, they trade it was to the point like last year where if you scored over 10 points, you were getting traded. It's like they were obviously tanking, and what do you do? I mean, there's something the league has to fix overall, because it's not just the Sixers. We've seen teams over the last several years obviously tanking, and now you're putting a bad product out there. So it's something the league has to remedy. I don't know how they go about doing it, but that's why they get paid to think about these things. You don't really have that problem in the NFL, but in the NBA, you have to try to find a way to make teams put a good product out there, because you want to sell beer and paraphernalia to the fans every night.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. Can't give me a bad product and then charge me regular price.
Well, yeah, and that's a good point, and that brings up something that Joe and I have talked about ever since it's happened, and then I kind of want to get your thoughts on this. What's your thoughts on that? The new rule with the hack of Jordan and the way it's done and how it slows down the game, and also what you thought of the new version of it or ways to get around it. I don't know if you caught that or not. But in the Clippers game, Doc Rivers had J.J. Redick jump on Drummond's back, like literally hop on his back while the ball was in the air on a free throw, so that they could get the foul, and it was during the play, so it wasn't like they were just fouling him away from the ball. And does that make a lot of these coaches take out players like Howard and Drummond during these last couple seconds of a game?
Yeah, it's crazy. It's I guess in the words of Damian Tomlinson, if you're not cheating, you ain't trying. So the thing about these rules, and I find it funny because in football you see Belichick does things that you're like, well, who thinks of that? Coaches will always try to work in that gray area. It does slow the game down. It does. I understand both sides of it. As a fan watching the game, you're like, come on already. But then from a strategic standpoint, you understand why they do it, and it often works. So the thing about it is it's a cat and mouse game. They're always going to find ways. If not this, they'll find something out. So it's just something that the league will have to deal with, but they continuously have to deal with these things because these coaches get paid a lot of money. And, they work a job where, if you don't produce, you have millions of people trying to get you fired. Imagine imagine a million people coming to your job on a daily basis saying, look, we want this guy fired. So they're going to sit around and think of everything. They don't really, I shouldn't say they don't care about us fans, but they have a job to do. So I understand both sides of it. But if I'm talking from a fan perspective, like it's irritating, specifically watching the games on TV. It's like, it's 30 seconds left in the game, and that 30 seconds may take like 45 minutes because of these, the hack of Jordan. First of all, hack of Jordan, you got to stop saying that. Like, hack of Shaq made sense because it sound right, but does hack of Jordan really sound right?
Not as much as hack of Shaq, but it's more modern, so.
I know what you mean. Yeah, but
so do you think? Then I guess my question to you is do you think that the league should continue to change the rules based on the fact that these players are not shooting the free throws the way they are? I mean, I just think that's stupid. Make them shoot free throws better. Don't change the league to coddle them. You're pretty much, sorry, you can't. We're just going to help the other team out.
Yeah, but you know what? I mean, historically, they've changed the rule in terms of like hand checking, making the lane wider. They've always done things to do that because at the end of the day, like we always say, it's about selling tickets. So they have to do what's in the best interest of the league in terms of making it exciting to watch. Which is why they took away a lot of different rules. In terms of the 3-second violation. If you look at all the rule changes that happened during the course of the history of the NBA, it's either because someone was too good or someone was too bad. One or the other.
Amen.
That's true.
Yeah, one or the other. So it's all about putting a product out there that, at the end of the day, when you look at sports overall, it's all about pulling seats to sell them beer. So they got to sell more beer. They have to make the games more exciting.
Yeah. And like you said, with a lot of those rule changes, I mean, basically all the league is trying to do is just score more points, make it more exciting. Like you said, make it harder for the defense.
Think about this.
Everybody wants to see high-scoring games.
Think about this. There was a time when there was no 24-second shot clock. So teams would score and be up 2 or 4-2 and hold the ball the entire game, go in the 4 corners and just hold the ball. teams would do that. Strategically, it made sense.
No, thank you.
But the league is like, what
I
is
can't
this?
watch
You know
that.
what I mean? Yeah, so
That's
it
brutal.
was a time that happened. It was a time that's what basketball was. So the league has to continually just make changes. Like I said, whether players aren't good or they're that bad. But it amazes me at how many guys aren't able to shoot. It's to the point now where you have a guy like a Rondo, who's a great point guard, who can't shoot. Like, how you can't shoot your point guard? It amazes me.
Yeah, I'm flabbergasted myself. I don't. You think about all the time they spend from kids, AAU, even if you do skip college. If you're a star player, even in high school, you're getting fouled so much, and you have so much free time and so much available to you as far as shooting coaches and stuff.
There was a time when almost every point guard in the league can shoot foul shots. Point guards can't shoot foul shots now. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Now, Jimmy, this is something we're probably going to talk about a little later, but while we have you on, I just wanted to get some of your thoughts. With the All-Star weekend going to be creeping up on us soon, who are some guys on both sides, the East and the West, that you feel are locks? And not just the popularity voting part, but who do you feel has actually put in the work stat-wise to guarantee a spot on the All-Star?
Now, I mean, saying the obvious picks will kind of be easy because you're going to have your LeBrons, you're going to have your Chef Currys, and those guys. And by the way, I don't know if it's just me. When you guys watch the Cavaliers play, does it feel like they're going full speed yet?
No. We talked about that before.
Yeah,
they're ready for Kyrie to get back.
Once Irving gets back, that's when they're going to click.
It's like
hopefully they will for Cleveland's sake. I think they're resting LeBron to a point. He's still playing a lot, but I think they're kind of, like you said, just kind of coasting. Maybe they feel like the East isn't that big of a deal to them. Maybe they're just trying to buy time. Maybe it's just a combination of everything.
Yeah, and also just getting back to your last question in terms of rules, that's something I want to see if the league steps in on. Is you see these coaches now, the guys don't play back to back. They get like nights off for no reason. I want to see if the NBA steps in and does something about that. Because think about this: if you're a season ticket holder, or if you're a kid and you're in Sacramento and LeBron sits that game out, LeBron only comes to Sacramento once a year sometimes. So, right?
I want to know those tickets cost more too.
Exactly. So I want to know, what's the league going to do about that? There's a lot of things they have to look at, and that's one thing that I'm thinking of. But to get back to your question, in terms of players, those are, the star players, obviously. The thing I don't like about the All-Star game is the fact that it is a popularity contest. So you have guys like Harden, LeBron, Carmelo, anybody with a commercial will be starters in the All-Star game because it's pretty much a popularity contest. Yeah, so that's who I see as guys who will automatically be there, guys with commercials, to answer your question.
Yeah, because we were talking about this last week on the show, and then I thought it was right on the money because a few days later we had to report that Adam Silver, going back to Kobe a little bit, saying that he felt like he deserves to be on there. He wants him on the team. Voters will probably do it, but when you look at his numbers, does he deserve it? And that was the thing that we were kind of going, as far as talking about.
Mhm. Yeah, and that's the thing, and he probably will be. And it's one of those things. Think about it. The last 3 years, Kobe made a boatload of money, and it was all based upon previous work. So, and that's what this will be. Kobe will definitely get voted in, so they can show him his love as a legend. And not to knock Kobe, because this is something that's been going on forever. I remember as a kid with Dr. J retiring, and he got a gift at every stadium he went to, or every he went to in the course of the year. I saw it when Kareem retired. So this is something that's happened. But this is the first time we've had a legend kind of announce his retirement during or before the season. Mike just left and came back and did what he wanted to do. So it's the first time I'm really seeing someone of this magnitude retire, but it's not new. So it wouldn't shock me if he definitely made the All-Star game. Does he deserve to be there based upon his numbers this year? No. Statistically, I read somewhere that Kobe might be the worst player in the league, statistically.
Wow. Yeah, I've seen that, and then I also seen, going back to Rose a little bit, I've seen something today where they were breaking down, saying that he was one of the worst as well, and they were just, and I guess it's because Chicago has been so used to playing without him because he's been hurt so much. But they were just talking about how better they are offensively without him, and they were just talking about his rating as well. So that definitely interesting numbers.
But see, the problem is you have guys like a Hassan Whiteside, who's helping this team tremendously. His PER is amazing. You got Derek Favors. You got guys like Kawhi Leonard, Isaiah Thomas. These guys are balling. They'll never make it. They'll never make it. You know what I mean? And that's the problem with the way the All-Star game is. But, again, looking at the other side of it, the fans voting on who they want to see. They want to see the exciting players.
Yeah, Kawhi Leonard should be in the MVP conversation already. I mean, that guy's having a great season. Scoring average is up. And the thing about it is a lot of people in the NBA that are great scorers slack off or aren't the most adept on the defensive end. The games I've seen with the Spurs, he hasn't missed a beat on the defensive end. He's still giving you the business on both sides.
I was going to say the same thing. You stole my point when you brought his name up. I was going to say he plays both sides of the ball. That's rare. And if you watch the Lakers play, to be honest with you, that's one of the reasons why Kobe is struggling is because he's so terrible on defense now. He spends so much energy. By the time he gets on offense, he has no energy left. So, and he used to be one of the best two-way players. But Kawhi Leonard right now, playing both sides of the ball, is out of control. He definitely should be at least mentioned for MVP.
Yeah, you guys got to take a pick. Who you going with, Leonard or Draymond Green?
What? No, that's not. There's no. What? No.
Really, Pat?
I choose both.
You don't think it's an argument? It's an argument.
It is. That's what I'm saying. I choose both. I can't choose one.
I don't know.
You can't choose. Draymond's a much better 3-point shooter to me, but and a better rebounder. But I mean, Kawhi Leonard, the way he scores and then the way he comes back and plays defense is he's easily the best two-way player right now, in my mind, playing in the NBA right now. So
that's tough though.
Yeah, and I'm just talking, stat as far as numbers wise, as far as just willingness to do anything and everything on the court. As you say, hustle guys, don't take plays off. I mean, those are the two guys that probably come to my mind immediately when we just want to think of a guy that kind of gives it all on the court.
That's a great versus. I think I'm gonna take that and make that our next versus. That's a great one right there because I could see taking either one of those guys. That's amazing.
See, my problem is when you talk about Kobe and Kobe being on the All-Star team, and you look at the guards that are in the Western Conference, and you got guys like McCollum and Lillard on the same team, what they're doing. They're fourth in the NBA with 44 points combined as a duo. You got Knight and Bledsoe, what they're doing right now in Phoenix. I mean, they're both on fire. Not to mention the fact that you still have Harden, not to mention the fact that you still have Westbrook. Which one of those guys, after the year that they are having this year, are you going to leave off to add Kobe? That's my only. That's where I'm at. Are you just going to actually add Kobe and leave off some other guy like you said, like a Derek Favors or one of those guys? That's where I'm kind of at when it comes to, does Kobe deserve to be on there? Do I think that he deserves to be on there based on his career? Sure. But if you're going to tell me that you got to give me an explanation on why you let this player who having a good year this year, like I said, like a Knight, like a Bledsoe, and what they're doing in Phoenix right now, and you're going to leave off one of them to take Kobe. That's where I'm gonna. That's where I kind of draw the line. That's where I kind of take offense to if they put him on there and leave one of those guys out.
Yeah, it's going to happen. I mean, there's always going to be snubs.
Yeah.
But remember.
Well, it was Lillard last year.
Mm-hmm. But remember this. Remember, like, the All-Star game, again, and this is about the fans. Magic left when he, contracted HIV and came back in the 92, I think it was a 92 All-Star game. He didn't really even play 92. That season. And they put him in the All-Star game. So, there were snubs then. There were people that were snubbed for a guy who wasn't even active, wasn't even an active player. Like, he came from his couch. So, I mean, it's what they want. It's what they want to give the fans. So I guess, but your point is exactly that. Someone's going to get snubbed and they're going to lose the honor. But at the end of the day, when someone puts a body of work together, like a Kobe or like a Magic or whoever it may be, the league wants to honor that. So
No, I want to get you guys. This kind of just dawned on me. Now we've seen what the NFL has done with their Pro Bowl and how it's changed now to where the way it is, where you have two coaches and they just pick their teams. Doesn't matter if it's NFC or AFC. What's your thoughts if they did the same thing in the NBA to kind of, change that? So we're not just looking at how many guards we have in the Western Conference. We're looking at overall guards and overall players at each position, and like do it exactly the same way.
I thought that that would be an amazing. Actually, I thought that would be before the NFL even did it, because the NHL actually did it first. And when the NHL first did it, I said, man, that would be amazing in basketball. That's literally like a pickup game. So right. I guess the only problem is there would have to be some rules put in place that guys just wouldn't pick their teammates, or maybe like a guy like Rondo couldn't be a captain because Rondo doesn't like anybody, including his teammates and himself.
Well, you would have NBA All-Stars, and you would have NBA legends as the captains.
Yeah. That
players
would be a
that
great
aren't
idea.
in the league.
That would be a great idea.
You would have Magic versus Jordan, something like that.
Yeah, but the thing about it is, no matter what you do when you put an all-star game together, there's going to be snubs because there's a lot of great players, and there will always be snubs. There's no way to avoid that. But I think that would add some excitement to the game because, to be honest with you, the weekend really hasn't been that great. I mean, last year the dunk contest was great, but I mean the game has just not really been that good lately. Like something has to happen to put more energy into All-Star Weekend.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's been kind of so-so.
Hey Jimmy, I got a question for you before we wrap it up on here. We talked about players playing well, and to talk about a guy who has had a resurgence in his game, Rondo with Sacramento. Recently made some news for something that didn't have anything to do with his play. Some comments made. What are your thoughts on Rondo, and then kind of the aftermath, and then with the referee also coming out, issuing his statement after that as well?
Yeah, it's one of those things. I don't know whether it happened in the heat of the battle, whether he meant it, whether he did it on purpose, because you never know. He could have known that information ahead of time. But the problem is that it's Rondo. Rondo's one guy that won't get a benefit of it. Rondo's always been like an evil guy, doesn't like anybody. He has a certain reputation. You know what I mean? Like, and the fact that this was Rajon Rondo makes you look at it one way. Like, if this was Klay Thompson, I don't think the story would have been the same way that it is. But I just made a joke a couple minutes ago. Rajon Rondo doesn't like anybody, including his teammates, including himself, referees, coaches. And he's been that way. I remember when when the big three were there in Boston, and he was the catalyst at point guard. He would slander his teammates then, and they were competitive, like championship level players. I mean, but Rajon Rondo doesn't get along with anybody.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I remember him butting heads with Doc, and I think Ray made some comments, when he left Boston as far as their relationship and things. Mm-hmm. But and then someone else who made some comments a little bit different, but our friend Gilbert Arenas, they gave us some good years in DC. He comes out today talking about ways to make the WNBA more popular as far as changing the uniforms.
Agent Zero.
Well, what do you think about what Gil said?
Gilbert is out of control. Some things are better left not said. And also, I disagree. I mean, Skyler negates that what he said anyway. But Gilbert is comical. Gilbert is an entertainer at this point. So yeah, it's hilarious. So I look for him to say something out of control. But whether I agree or not, I'm not going to say that because, like I said, some things don't have to be said. But we do have Skylar digging, so.
Yeah, no doubt. Amen. Like I said, Gilbert's one of those guys. You take the good with the bad with Gil. I think my thought is Gil just got too much time on his hands now. That's all. Too much money and too much time.
Yeah, what is wrong with him, man? As soon as you said his name, I could do nothing but laugh. And I saw that headline, I was like, he didn't say that.
Drinking that Kool-Aid.
But hopefully the Gonzalez twins will make the WNBA, and then I don't know what Gilbert to say at that point. From UNLV, and for those who don't know, just look up UNLV Gonzalez twins, and you'll see what I'm talking about.
Well aware.
Okay. There you go. Well, look, Jimmy, man, I definitely, like I said again, I wanna thank you for coming on. Appreciate it. Like I said again, we know the book is out. Everyone can check out the book on Amazon. The Sports.
Mm-hmm.
Smart people only read the sports. Jimmy, you want to tell everybody again how to reach you, follow War Room Sports, things like that?
Absolutely. Anything War Room Sports, warroomsports.com. You can buy the book there, as well as sportsthebook.com. All of our social media is at War Room Sports. That's Instagram, that's Twitter. Facebook is War Room Sports. And for me personally, is at JW The Blueprint. And that's everywhere, whether we're talking Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat. I'm everywhere. I'm all online, talking sports and hip-hop and everything all day long. So I appreciate the invite, and I have fun, man. You guys have an amazing show because, someone who loves hoops, I really dig your show.
All right. Thanks a lot, man.
That.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. It was blast. Definitely have you on again.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Absolutely. All right, man. I appreciate it, man. Salute you guys, and, have fun.
All right. Take it easy, Jim.
Same to you. Happy holidays, Jimmy.
Peace.
Happy holidays.
Thank you. Thanks. All right. Take it easy.
That was awesome. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. That's
Dude,
good NBA chat right there.
That was really
sure.
good.
Yeah, like I said, man, the guy's a good guy. Also, Dev. You got B. Austin. You got Aquill. All the War Room guys. Like I said, check them out. And like you said, man, it was like pretty much right on the money. Everything that you read on their site, on their social media. Like you said, it just felt like barbershop type talk. I mean, you're talking about intelligent guys as well, but you just feel like you're just sitting around with your friends, talking, and they pretty much cover everything as far as social aspects of the sports, the game, stats, numbers, things like that as well.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to check out that book. That sounded like something that was right up my alley.
Only question I forgot to ask,
I'll
probably hit him up online about it. I forgot to talk about Tupac with him. I'm a Tupac fan. Jimmy thinks the opposite of Tupac that I do, but I forgot to ask him about that. But maybe another time we'll have it back on.
Yeah, I am not. So I'm on Jimmy's side. I am not a Pac fan. All right. Yeah.
All